ready? We're gonna let the beast out. Caged up, held down for far too long. You ready? Be ready. Breathe in, smell the victory. Breathe out, let go of all the doubt you feel. Believe, reject defeat. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. When it's on the line, seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Stand the test of time. Seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, believe you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Hold up, are you listening? Focus in, we're looking to make history. Let's go, we know what we've waited for.
Hold up, as the song says. Are you listening? It's time to let the beast out. It's Thursday night, and you guys know what time it is, right? It's time for Around the Nation on the Viking Nation Live. I am your host, Larry Godwin, the always humble LG. That's what they call me. So, guys, welcome to our Thursday night just stroll down, not just memory lane, but we're in the fast lane because the I'm sorry for laughing. Billy Pearson has hijacked my brain because I cannot wait for you guys to see him appear on the screen tonight. And you know, we have the ability for our guest and myself to change our screen names, things like that. And I just noticed Billy's screen name, and he has kind of distracted me. So thanks a lot, Billy, for doing that during my intro, man. So anyway, guys, it's Thursday night. It's time to let our hair down, but at the same time, it's time to let the beast out. And that's what we're going to do tonight on the Viking Nation Live. So let me go ahead and bring out the aforementioned. Is that the right word? Aforementioned Billy Pearson. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing good, Larry.
Man, I got to admit, you kind of caught me off guard. I was in the zone, Billy, letting the beast out, and all of a sudden I catch out of the corner of my eye the legend. Is like, oh my gosh, he has given himself a nickname. I love it, man. I love it.
Hey, it kind of goes with our intro song, so there you go.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, speaking of our intro, I decided to kind of try to spruce it up a little bit. So what'd you think of the intro?
I like that. Of course, I don't think Chris is going to be on here tonight. I heard you tell me that. So, but he can always be on the intro because he is a big part of this.
Absolutely.
And he's a wealth of knowledge. He's probably our statistician. If we all had jobs, I would say he was our statistician. He is on top of that stuff.
Absolutely. He sure is, man. You're right there. So I can't wait for him to be back on the show. Guys, he's normally on the show, but he couldn't tonight because I think he's helping to being the but being the band booster club president. He's out at their high school tonight. I think helping to load buses or equipment.
For the Winter Guard, I believe.
For the Winter Guards having their first show competition this weekend, right?
Yeah, I
think that's what he told us.
Yeah.
So anyway,
guys,
tonight's episode is sponsored by a number of people, and so we want to go ahead and make sure that we pay them plenty of attention. First and foremost, our new title sponsor. I'm happy to announce this. This is one of our major announcements. Our happy new title sponsor for this show is Pepsi. They are really, really, really stepping up to the plate. If you've noticed, so much so, Billy, that if you've noticed that I've kind of changed my screen. Let me put this full screen. I've kind of changed my studio around a little bit. If you'll notice that.
Oh, yeah.
Got them all displayed right there. Listen, Billy, this is my drink of choice. I think everybody knows that.
Yes.
Mountain Dew Zero is my drink of choice. But guys, Pepsi and Doyer Deloach has opened my eyes to so many other flavors that I cannot wait to try. Here's one of them. This is a Mountain Dew Spark. I cannot wait to jump into this.
What is the other one that you were drinking this summer? It was Mountain Dew,
Mango Madness. Mango Madness, I believe. I love that drink. So Pepsi is always, they're not afraid to try different things. So they're innovating. And so I want to introduce you guys to, you've probably heard of Rockstar Energy Drink. Well, our local Pepsi guys distribute that stuff as well as Mountain Dew Energy. And of course, you already recognize Mountain Dew and regular Pepsi. All of them are good. Jason Burnett says, all of them are good. It doesn't matter which one you choose. So whether you shop at Winn-Dixie or Publix or Food Lion or Walmart or wherever, even your local Circle K convenience store, you can find, I think you can find all of these flavors there. I got to check with Doyer to make sure. So anyway, we wanted to make sure we thanked Doyer Deloach and the Pepsi guys for stepping up major in 2022 and becoming our title sponsor. But listen, we've still got some other sponsors that are doing a great job as well. The Shade of Perfection, Tim Neesmith. Everybody in the Viking Nation knows who Stickman Tim Neesmith. He's probably going to be heckling us on the show tonight, but we love that about Tim.
Hey, Larry, speaking of Stickman,
yeah.
I believe I sent you a picture of him back when he was a basketball player. So I hope you can post that picture. That'd be
gosh. Good. Where is, I got to find that picture somewhere before the end of the show tonight. We got to find that one. That was some good stuff, man. So,
yeah.
Well, thank you. You've kind of distracted me
back
twice
in his formative
tonight.
Years.
You kind of distracted me twice tonight. I've kind of lost my train of thought. I'm glad we have this sponsorship screen on the screen here. The Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin. If you have a variety, or if you have a need for different types of migraine treatments, they've got a variety of them available to you. They treat back pain. They do nerve conduction studies. A couple more sponsors to get through. White Oak Investment. I met with Kyle Conger this week just to do a little economic financial checkup. And he tells me, Billy, that I'm right on track. He suggested that we tweak some things here and there. So I think we're going to go full speed ahead, even in a turbulent market that we're in now. Because nowadays, it's not unusual for the market to make 1,000-point swings in either direction. So Kyle is helping me to navigate that. Guys, if you have a need for wireless phones, whether it's iPhone, Androids, or accessories, give Matthew Godwin a call at Verizon Wireless right there on Perimeter Road. And of course, if you like the way that we treat our sponsors here on the show, give us a call. Reach out to G Nation Media. That's the name of our corporate umbrella, if you will. So that's the name of our company. If you would like to reach out to us and talk about innovative ways to market your business, we're looking into doing some major things with the discount cards that people promote, things like that. We're thinking about getting into that market and doing something. We're looking at doing something very, very innovative there. And if we can pull it off, it's going to be a game changer. And you guys know me by now. When I'm determined to do something, we're going to do it right. So anyway, stay tuned for those types of things. So those are our sponsors, and we are thankful for each and every one of those guys. So anyway, there's some other stuff that we're talking about tonight, Billy. One major announcement that we wanted to make tonight was, this show has grown over the last year and a half that we've been doing this. The Viking Nation has been the main driving distribution point, if you will, that people go to watch this show. But we are starting to roll out some agreements with other owners of other pages, so to increase and expand our distribution, because I finally figured out, Billy, on the technical side, how to push this show out to basically an unlimited number of pages, groups, social media sites, and things like that. So if you're a sponsor, guys, this show is about to make a major push into increasing our reach. So one thing that we've done tonight as a test for this strategy is we've basically come to an agreement with the Viking Touchdown Club page, where we're distributing this show. It's live streaming tonight on just not this show and not the pregame blitz page, but the Viking Touchdown Club page as well, as managed by Michael Broadwater. So we want to thank all of the people that were involved in getting that done, because there was some last minute technical things that we had to work through to make it all happen. And we figured it out this afternoon and we made it happen. And so now that allows us to go full speed ahead with these other pages. And we're hoping to announce those soon. So it's going to be fun,
you weren't
man.
going to announce that I was a big help in the technical side of that whole transition, were you?
Well, listen, man, we all recognize that the internet needs plumbing work. So you are the official plumber of the Viking Nation.
Hey, just this week you wanted me to go back for my bid for governor and athletic director of the Lowndes athletic program.
That's right.
So, I mean, why do I just have to be a plumber? You know, why can't I be a technical genius too? And governor and AD.
That's right. That's right. I love it, man. That would be the ultimate form of multitasking right there. You know, listen, we've wasted too much time tonight talking about this stuff. So let's talk about some other things, like how well some of these Lowndes athletic programs are doing, such as, you know, we kind of touched on this last week, but the Lowndes wrestling program is, man, they are doing some really, really cool things, Billy. Last weekend, they went up to Lambert High School and competed in the state championship, the state dual championships. So they're apparently in wrestling. I'm not intricately or intimately involved with high school wrestling, so I don't know the ins and outs, but apparently there's two seasons. There's the dual team season, and then once that's completed, then they go to the individual season. So this past weekend, they competed for the state championship in the duals team category. So they made it to the Elite Eight. So this coming weekend, I think, starts the individual tournament season, and they're going up to Tift County High School to take part in that. So congratulations to the Lowndes wrestling team for making the Elite Eight this year. Fantastic job, guys.
Yeah.
Also last weekend, the first group of Lowndes bass anglers, not the first group, but the Lowndes bass anglers went out to their first tournament, I should say, this past weekend on Lake Seminole. So there's a lot of things, Billy, that's happening around Lowndes athletics that we just want to give kudos to all these kids and coaches, man. They're doing a great job. Speaking of doing a great job, the Lowndes basketball program is on fire. Yeah, it seems like every week that we give you an update, guys, they just seem to add another 2 to 3 wins to that column, to that W column. And so
and nothing add to the right column. So that's
absolutely
crazy. They just win.
Yeah, so the boys are now 15-2. Their next region game is actually tomorrow night versus Tift County at home. The girls are 14-4, and their next region game is tomorrow night as well versus Tift County. So come on, guys. Let's show Cole Moore up and those Tift County Blue Devils. Show up to the Crimson Coliseum tomorrow night, and let's cheer on these boys and girls basketball team. So, Billy, let's get into this Lowndes football talk. So that's what a lot of people tune into the show for us to get to, and there's still a lot to talk about even during the off season when it comes to Lowndes football. We've been started talking about a couple of weeks ago that there is our defensive coordinator, Mark Hurt, has left. He's become the head coach at Pike County High School. Yeah, Pike County High School over in Alabama. And since then, we've had an offensive line coach to leave as well in Bryce Giddens. So I believe that job posted either today or yesterday. I can't remember. But Lowndes is actively
I was unaware
searching.
of that, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I was unaware that Bryce had left. So I'm behind.
Listen, that's right. You weren't on the show last week. You got to start tuning into the show when you take a night off, so you'll learn these types of things.
I knew about Coach Hurt, and of course, I've got my own speculations on that. But yeah, I didn't know Bryce had left. So I wish him the best. You know, good coach, and hope he grows his future and does well wherever he goes.
Yeah, I'm not a Colquitt County Packer fan in general. Well, who am I kidding? At all. But because of guys like Bryce Giddens, I can at least be friendly and cordial to those guys, right? Because Bryce Giddens is one of the good guys. I've determined the last couple of years that he's been here, He's done nothing but demonstrate it. He's one of the good guys. So Coach Giddens, we want to wish you the very best over in Colquitt County, except for one game. In that one game, I hope Lowndes beats your butt 1,000-0. So
exactly.
Yeah, speaking of Colquitt County, we actually go over to Moultrie this coming season. And so what do you think? What do you expect to see, Billy, in that game? Because, believe it or not, Jamie DuBose is basically the tenured head coach in Region 17A. This is he's entering in his third year, right? And then followed by Jeff Heron, his second year. Then you've got Shelton Felton, and Colquitt County's got now Sean Calhoun, and this is going to be his first year as head coach. So I know it's kind of early to speculate, but what are you expecting?
Well, I expect Colquitt County to have growing pains.
Really?
Just like we experienced when Jamie came.
Yeah.
Just going to have a little bit different system. I think their defense is going to struggle this year, not because of talent, but because they're losing 9 defensive coordinators over there this year.
Yep.
So, that were former head coaches, that are really good defensive-minded coaches. So I don't think their defense is going to be as good, and I think they're just going to struggle to learn a new offensive scheme, so to speak. So I don't expect Moultrie to be the Moultrie of years past. I just don't. I think they're experiencing a little bit of this rebuilding era that they seem to be in, and I just don't expect them to be the Moultrie of old.
Oh, you don't?
I don't.
So
what about you?
Well, I have a little bit different take on it. I think they still have some really, really good athletes. And last year's team, they were just as young as we were.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think what led to Coach Rogers' dismissal over there, or I don't know if it's dismissal is the right word, but anyway, he's no longer with the program. So the events that led up to that, they had from my understanding, talking to some of their fans over there, they had, they were just as young as we were, but their fans tell me that they just did not see the growth as the season continued. And they claim, some of them anyway, that some of their skill athletes appeared to be regressing or not getting better, and actually getting a little bit worse as the season progressed. I don't know if I buy that, but that's what they're telling me.
Well, there did seem to be a little bit of dissension, if that's the word, amongst their staff.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that, we've seen it in several other programs where they just didn't have any confidence in the coaches. The kids see that.
Right.
And the kids don't work as hard. So I think you probably could say maybe they did take a step back later in the season because maybe, and I don't know this for sure because, I'm not an insider in their program at all. But maybe the kids did sit some of that and maybe weren't trying as hard, maybe gave up a little bit. Certainly, they take a beating by us, and that kind of takes the wind out of the sails if they can't beat us. Because let's face it, a lot of teams base their success, and Moultrie is one of those, on how they perform against Lowndes.
Sure.
So I think once they lost that game to us, maybe they kind of quit a little bit.
Okay. Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I can see that. It's an opinion, so I'm not going to fault it. Now, given what you know about our team and what you think is going to happen next year, how would you rank the region so far? If we fast forward and it's the end of the season next year, how would you see the teams?
I don't know how. Naturally, I'm going to put Lowndes at number 1 because I think we are the most complete team in the region.
Ooh, okay.
Just because, yes, we are losing a stud football player in Jakari. We're losing a stud wide receiver / running back / All-American type kid in Chase Belcher.
Sure.
We've lost Tyler. We've lost a lot of talent, but we always seem to have the next crop.
Okay.
And I think as a program, and we're going to call this a program, not just a football team.
Right.
As a program, I think we are the most developed program because we do have the more seasoned coach within the system. Our system will have had 3 years to kind of get implemented for the younger kids.
Okay.
And I think that our freshman class this past year was the best freshman class by far that we have had in several years. So those kids are going to be a year older. We already had a couple of those freshmen that later in the season played a bunch more reps on varsity. And I think you're going to see those kids play. So they've got more experience as a sophomore than a lot of kids going into their junior and senior year, just because they got to see some snaps last year. If you want to look at a number 2, I can't not say that it's going to be a Jeff Herron Camden County team. Okay. They're going to have another year in it, and they were probably one of our toughest matches last year as far as a team that just we didn't seem to have an answer for. You can look at Collins Hill, you can look at all these other schools that we played, that Walton that beat us. Those Walton, I think we had a good game plan, but I don't think we had a real good answer to Camden. And I think we're going to continue to struggle with Camden just because they run that unique offense.
Right.
Not unique to Lowndes. It's unique to everywhere in the world but Lowndes, it seems to be. But I think they're going to be another year under Jeff Herron, who is arguably one of the greatest coaches in South Georgia in the past. And then it's going to be a Colquitt and Valdosta battle.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes down to those teams later on. But I just think Lowndes is still the most put together program in our region.
I got you. So it's a more of a, well, I understand what you're saying. It's more of a complete program versus having to put more pieces together like some of these teams are having to do.
Because even the coaches at Lowndes have worked together longer than say that they're going to have at Colquitt. Camden is a program that a lot of those coaches know each other from the past, but I just think that they're still a year or two away of giving us a run for region champs.
That's right.
So I'm picking Lowndes to win the region again.
I got you. Well, let me. I just saw this interesting comment from one of our viewers, Ben Beam. He's a big Northside Warner Robins fan. He says, "I didn't realize this is all Viking talk. Go Vikings." Ben, that it's kind of funny the way you put that, but I want to make sure our viewers understood that I do 2 shows a week. Thursday night, which is me and Billy Pearson and Chris Bisher. We call this show Around the Nation, and that's basically all about the Viking Nation and Lowndes athletics. That's what Thursday night's all about. But since you're here, we open this thing up to the public. You're welcome to watch it. That's no problem at all. Now, the Tuesday night show is basically anything goes. It's Region 1 football. It's college football. It's anything basically that we want to talk about in the world of football. High school football and college football. So that's the difference. Now, our sponsors basically sponsor both shows, and that just increases our reach. That was a very strategic decision that we made, and it just helps to increase our reach for our sponsors. That's why we do what we do. So anyway, I appreciate you. Now, he puts something interesting. He said that the last time Valdosta played Richmond Hill, Valdosta lost. I think that's what got Rodemaker fired. Now, that might be true, but we don't care. Because this is the Lowndes show. so anyway.
But, I mean, that poses an interesting question.
Yeah, I'm just poking fun at
you're
them.
gonna eventually have a Richmond Hill and a Valdosta playing each other again. You're gonna have a Lowndes and a Richmond Hill that, I don't think Lowndes, Colquitt, or Valdosta has really struggled against any team in the past 20 years from the Savannah area. I mean, somebody may throw in, oh, well, Valdosta did lose. I think it was in the playoffs
To Richmond
several
Hill.
years ago to Richmond Hill.
Yeah.
But as a rule, schools in this area just don't struggle against Savannah area schools. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Now there are a couple of exceptions. I think Benedictine is a Savannah area school, and they dominate in the lower classes. I think they're going to class 4A, I think, something like that. And they've won a couple of state championships over there. Richmond Hill has done well in more recent years. Brunswick has done okay in I think class, what are they, 6? I can't remember. Glen Academy has done well over there.
Well, so you're going too far south. You're going too far south. See, you're going too far south. I'm saying Savannah area.
I got you.
I'm saying Savannah area. Glen Academy, I still consider them South Georgia school. Brunswick, they were just in our region not too long ago. They were decent competition. Like you said, they have been done really well in a lower classification.
Yeah.
But I think Richmond Hill is going to be our whipping boys for a while.
You are probably correct. They are probably going to be the lowest Wildcat on the totem pole, since there's going to be 3 sets of Wildcats in our region this year.
Wow, that's something.
Yeah. So you got the Valdosta Wildcats, the Camden Wildcats, and the Richmond Hill Wildcats. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm right there with you now. So if you got someone in the Savannah area, specifically Richmond Hill, watching the show tonight, I'm sure they're going to use this as bulletin board material.
Bulletin board.
But it's we're just being honest. That's the way fans see this right now. It's what everyone in the high school football universe sees this right now as, Richmond Hill and Tift County are probably going to be battling for that 4th spot. That's the way people see it.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a coin flip, in my opinion. But hey, for anybody in Richmond Hill, Savannah area, Pooler, whatever, be sure to spell my name right. It's the with a capital T, Legend.
There's a lot of legends out there, but you are the legend. So anyway, Jared Guess has an interesting question. I mean, this is directly related to our region. That's why we're putting these types of questions and comments on the screen, because with this new Region 17A that's coming up, Valdosta and Richmond Hill are joining the region, right? So he has something happened to Billy's feed. So he'll come back. So I'll throw this out there for you guys. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben, you're right. Tift County has dropped to the, I call it the Bush Leagues. Tift County has dropped to the Bush Leagues in Class 6A. So they won't be trying to compete for that 4th spot. So let me revisit Region 17A. So we're going to have Lowndes, Colquitt, Camden, Richmond Hill, and Valdosta, right? So Billy, you're back. Ben has called me out when I was talking about Tift. What in the world is wrong with your feed, dude? So anyway, you guys are right. Or Ben is right. I misspoke. Tift County has dropped down to Class 6, and it's going to be Lowndes, Colquitt, Camden, Richmond Hill, and I don't know what's up with him, man. So I might be flying solo for the rest of the way tonight. I'm not sure. So with that said, guys, we're going to get back to that, because I'm going to try to wait for Billy to come back on screen to try to answer that question, which is Jared's question. And I'll go back to that. I'm going to star that so I can remember to go back to it. What is everyone's take on Valdosta coming into Class 7A. So I'm going to parking lot that question because one of the things that I wanted to remind our Viking Nation is, guys, we have got one of the things that's given me so much confidence coming into this season is the rise of these, what I call these super stud ninth graders, Billy. We've got a class of athletes that is on the cusp of being outstanding. I don't want to compare them yet to the Greg Reed era with Telvin Smith and Greg Reed and Josh Harvey Clemens and those guys, all those guys that came through that batch, that cycle, if you will. But this class, Billy, this class is going to be an outstanding class. So they were freshmen this past year. They're rising sophomores. So next year they're going to be sophomores. Some of these guys are already getting offers. Now, Jakari Fleming is going to be, I believe, a junior next year. And he's getting offers now from Troy, Liberty University. I think he's got a couple other offers. Coleman Lewis, he is a rising sophomore linebacker. He started a handful of games coming up from the ninth grade last year. He's gotten an offer from Iowa State and Austin Peay. He's going to get more offers. And, he's already got the frame. This kid built like a linebacker, yes. And when Kevin Wisham gets his claws on this guy, he's going to fill him out. And this guy's going to put on another 20, 25 pounds of just muscle. And he is going, by the time he is a senior, this guy is going to be a stud at the linebacker position. Another guy, Daniel Jones, offensive lineman, got an offer from Iowa State, I believe this week or last week, something like that. So we've got a lot of good kids that's coming up. We got a stud for a quarterback in Marvis Parrish. He's coming up as part of this class. And there's going to be a number of these athletes that I can't think of at the top of my head. I'll get a list for you guys. Billy, the cupboard is not bare at Lowndes. The future is bright.
No, and you mentioned, Marvin Parrish. I think that he could compete for the starting quarterback position.
I do too. I agree.
I like what I saw of him. So not saying that the team has said anything that he is going to be or nothing, but I think he could definitely compete for it.
Sure.
And he'll be one of those, rising sophomores that is just a stud player.
That's right. So speaking of Lowndes football, Billy, I want you to think of this question. I don't know if you saw this question a while ago, but I'm going to throw this question up on the screen. And I'm going to give you a second to think about it while I pull up something else. But what is your take on Valdosta coming back to our region, coming into Region 7A? So think about it for 30 seconds while I pull something up. All right, you got your answer?
I do.
All right. So what say you, man? What's your thoughts of the Wildcats coming back into Region 7A?
I love it.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. Hey, growing up in this town, you were one of two things. You were either a Viking or a Cat.
Yep.
I think over the last several years, even though Lowndes has dominated the Wintersville Classic, I think the Wintersville Classic has lost some of its luster, so to speak.
Okay.
And I think them being back in our classification, in our region, it's going to rekindle that love-hate relationship that we have with the Cats. I think the game is going to take on a whole lot different meaning, a lot more heart and soul are going to be put into this game by both the players and the coaches that I think we've seen in the last couple of years.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing for this community, especially.
I agree, man. And listen, I'm echoing what you're saying. I'm buying what you're saying. And I'm going to take it a step further and just kind of give a warning to our Lowndes fan base. Guys, don't think that Valdosta football is dead. Put that thought out of your mind. As much as we kind of like to poke fun at the coaching situation, and I've heard the jokes about McDonald's bags and things like that, put all that stuff aside. Shelton Felton is a good football coach. He was an excellent head football coach in Cordele at Crisp County. There was a reason why he was asked to join the Tennessee football coaching staff. Now, again, put all the jokes aside about McDonald's and all that stuff. The guy knows how to coach football. And so he has the ability to relate. And I saw this firsthand last year when everyone expected Valdosta football to fall apart. They didn't fall apart. They didn't win a lot of games, but they were in a lot of games that they weren't expected to be in, and especially closer to the end of the season. This guy knows how to coach football, and they've gotten a major transfer in from Thomas County Central, kid named Gabe Harris. Billy, he is a 6'5", 230-pound defensive end. So it's those types of players that's coming up in the Valdosta system, the transferring into the system. Put that together with good coaching. Now, they've got a quarterback situation to solve, right? But I expect them to do well. I really do.
I expect them to start building because here's the thing. Everybody speculated that Shelton would be fired, that he was just going to be a one and done.
Right.
And I think that created some questions amongst fans and players. So now that he is staying, if you would, I think you're going to see him kind of reunite
right
the students and maybe even the fans. And if he gets that behind him, then yes, they will be a force to be reckoned with.
That's right.
I don't think they're going to be as competitive next year yet because of the quarterback situation.
Right.
But guys, it ain't dead. They will win their share of games. I promise you.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Now, will they be region champs? I don't think so. Not in this first year. Will they be the second seed? I don't think so. I think they're probably have a legitimate shot at competing for maybe a third seed. I really do. I think well, let me say this. I know they're better than Richmond Hill. They've played Camden County tough in the past because Valdosta usually has a good defense. So I think they're competing with Camden County for that third seed. That's just my personal opinion.
And see, I think they're competing against Colquitt County for the third.
What?
Yeah,
come on now.
I told you.
You think Colquitt County is going to take that long to adapt to Sean Calhoun's system?
Yeah, I do. Not to knock on Colquitt. I think that Camden's going to have the momentum going into. Guys, Camden played us out of all the region games that we had. Camden played us the toughest.
All right, so if I made a statement like this, I want to gauge your reaction to it. Camden may be the dark horse to win the region next year.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise you.
It would not surprise me. I still think we're going to win it, but if we're going to get upset, I think it would be Camden.
I got you.
I think they are next to us the most complete program at this point.
Right. So, and I think I know we have to go back to Camden County this year or next year.
Next year.
Yeah. So Camden is always a tough place for us to play. Historically, it's always been a tough place for us to play. Even with we had a superior team on the field last year, and it took basically the last play of the game and a miracle throw for us to win that game, right?
If we could have made some defensive adjustments, I don't think
that
close.
That remains to be seen. It looks like that we're about to make some defensive adjustments. I don't know how far Coach DeBose is willing to make those changes, but Mark Hertz is exiting stage left. We're going to see who he brings in. Now, the rumor is that he's going to bring in Ashley Anders, former Tift County head coach. But before he became a Tift County head coach, he was a defensive coordinator and a very good defensive coordinator.
He was a defensive coordinator, I believe, at VSU. And he also was defensive coordinator at Colquitt County last year.
That's right. That's right. So I haven't gotten confirmation on that. People are kind of winking and nudging and that kind of stuff when Ashley Anders' names is brought up. So I don't know what the final position that he's going to be taking, but the Board of Education has not voted on that. So I suspect that's why people are being kind of tight-lipped about that.
And see, I don't know how it works in high school necessarily as far as how much control of the defense the defensive coordinator has. I don't know if Jamie DeBose or any head coach has control of the whole team and he just kind of directs his coordinators. I don't know that. They all say that Kirby Smart has a hand in the defense, at Georgia. And it was a little bit more hands off on the offense because that's kind of his background. So I don't know, what somebody like Ashley would bring to the table. But as a rule, he has been successful as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's went.
Now, the thing the topic you're talking about is how much control is the defensive coordinator has at the high school. That's really all dependent on the head coach. Some head coaches want to focus on just one side of the ball. Some head coaches want to be an administrator basically and let their coordinators basically run their respective sides of the ball. Jamie is more of a hands-on guy that I've seen. He is basically the offense coordinator. He calls the plays, right? And so at the same time, I think he's got a hand in the defense where he directs the defense. This is just what I've seen. This is my personal opinion. I think he directs the defense coordinator on what kind of defense that he wants run. That's not uncommon. Listen, when Randy McPherson was the head coach at Lowndes and Byron Slack came from Camden to Lowndes, Byron Slack ran a 3-3 stack defense over in Camden County. But when he came to Lowndes, you know what defense he ran? He ran out of Randy McPherson's mouth. He said he's going to run the defense that we run over here. So the head coach basically gives the direction of the defense coordinator. And I suspect if Ashley Anders is indeed the defense coordinator at Lowndes, we're going to see the same thing. He's going to run the defense that Jamie wants him to run. So I hope it's not a 3-man front anymore, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Did I hear that out of your mouth?
Yes. I don't know why you keep thinking that that I love the 3-man front. I'm not in love with the 3-man front in high school football. But I do recognize that a lot of teams run it because of the versatility that it allows a defense to run. In my opinion, you just have to have a stud of a 3-man defensive front to run that effectively in high school football.
And absolutely some of the best linebackers in high school.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing. There's too many moving parts for a 17-year-old kid. That's too much for him to keep up, in my opinion. I think a 4-man front is a little simpler. I think there are teams that you do benefit a lot more going to a 3-man front. A Collins Hill, if I was coaching, which I'm no expert, I would have ran a 3-man front against Collins Hill. However, against Camden County, I'd have stacked the box. I'd have had a 5-man front with all 7 guys up in the box, and I'd have forced them to throw it on me. That's me, because I don't have to take the phone calls in the morning when we don't succeed. So It's easy for me to sit back here and say, I had a game plan.
Of course.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So let me ask our viewers, guys, what do you prefer? I know we've got a lot of football guys that are very, very knowledgeable when it comes to football watching this show tonight. What do you like, or what do you prefer in a defensive scheme? Is it a 4-3 with 4 down linemen, like a true 4 down lineman, or is it a 3-4 where you have 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers, basically 2 outside linebackers that could come up and make it a faux 5-man front, if you will? So what do you guys prefer? I know what I prefer. In high school, I prefer a true 4-man front. Billy, to be honest with you, I don't think we're going to get that. You know why I say that? Because I went back and looked at Central Phoenix City when Jamie was over there, that has the head coach. And I looked at games where he played Thompson for a couple of state championships. And you know what stood out? He ran a 3-man front.
and here's kind of what I don't know if people understand what Larry is saying by saying a true four-man front. What we have is we have a linebacker, and if you understand linebacker size, linebackers are smaller, usually faster, but smaller than a lineman. So if you're wanting to get a push on the line, it's harder to do it's harder to do when you match up a linebacker against an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
It's just harder. He's undersized. So that is why I don't like it as much, because you wind up having an undersized guy that creates a mismatch. And a lot of times you don't have that hole closing ability that you do with a true lineman.
Now I want you to hear what I'm saying. I 100% agree with everything that you just said, but this was what defensive coaches that prefer the 3-4 will tell you. Okay. In the modern era, or in the era of modern football, where the spread offense is so prevalent, they feel that they can stop the run with 3 good down linemen to give you an extra speedier, quicker guy to help on the perimeter with guarding against or defending against the passing game that is coming. That's what they would tell you.
And I agree with it against a passing team.
Okay.
And when I say that, Collins Hill, a prime example. You knew they were going to throw the ball. They were going to throw the ball a lot. They were going to throw it accurately.
Yep.
So, yes, I agree with that. But what I'm telling you, and I'm no football genius or no defensive genius, I just know from watching a lot of high school football, everybody wants to go to the spread now, but they're not as effective throwing the ball as a Collins Hill.
That's right.
High school teams, and Jamie and I have talked about this briefly, and yes, I know where his stance is, and he thinks that the 3-man front can still cover the gaps, but we don't play that many pass first teams. So most high school teams run the ball. And I wouldn't say run the ball well. They run the ball first.
Correct.
So make them one-dimensional. Make them beat you with a pass. And the way you do that is you stop the run by putting a stronger line, defensive line, up against them and make it tougher for them to run, where they are forced to pass the ball. And then you play man-to-man with the safety over the top and hope you have taught your DB how to stop the pass.
All right, let me kind of switch topics a little bit. I'm going to get your opinion on something. Do you think Lowndes is on schedule for a state championship in the next year or two? Why or why?
Well, we all know that I made the comment several weeks ago that I didn't feel like Lowndes in the era can possibly win another state championship in the highest classification.
Right.
Unless some things are changed by GSHA. It has nothing to do with Lowndes, our talent, our coaches. It is just the nature of recruiting transfers that has happened, because Lowndes has taken on a few recruits. I will say that about our transfers. But not recruits.
Back up. Use the right word.
We do get transfers into Lowndes. That's all high schools in the world get transfers. Not all of them are the McDonald's paper sack transfers, but in the age that we see so much going on, and it's a little bit of social media, it's definitely a lot of the media's coverage on all these great players that we have, but based on what I'm seeing with all the transfers, both legal and illegal, I just don't think we're on track. Now, are we going to be competitive? Are we going to go up there and be a semifinal team, a quarterfinal team? Yes, that is Lowndes. Lowndes I think there was something came out earlier this week that showed the top uh, dynasty, so to speak, in
Right.
high school football across the United States. And I think Lowndes was ranked number 2 in Georgia as far as dynasty, because we are going to be consistently there in the top, 4, 8, 2 teams in the state every year. I just think there's always going to be that elite junior college team from a Collins Hill, Grayson, or whatever that's gonna just be heads taller than the rest of the field.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that, guys. If you're, I'm interested to see what you guys would say. Jason Burnett says that he thinks that Lowndes is on schedule for a state championship next couple of years. Wilbur Pelfrey says that, yeah, we're on schedule in 2 years that he's predicting. So what do you guys think? You think Lowndes is on schedule? I'm Billy, to be honest with you, I'm going to reserve judgment because I don't know yet.
Mock.
I'm not.
That's not what this is about. We're not reserving judgment. We're just giving an opinion.
I think let me back up, push that reverse button. I want to see more evidence in implementing what we were promised. If we implement what was told to us when Jamie got here, I'm going to be perfectly transparent and flat out honest with you guys when I say this. When Jamie came on board, I was and am still super excited about the offense that he's going to implement. I don't think he has fully implemented what he told us that he was going to implement. Maybe it was by design. Maybe it was because we didn't have the personnel. Maybe it was because of COVID. We just had to transition into it. The fact of the matter is, I don't think we've implemented what he wants to implement yet fully, and which is that NASCAR speed offense. I've seen glimpses of it, Billy, but I haven't seen it in a full game yet. And I noticed that, let me take Ja'Cory, for example, Ja'Cory Brown, fantastic quarterback. Everybody agrees with that. But I just noticed that he seemed to elevate his play when we went high speed up tempo. Would you agree with that?
I agree 100% with that.
And his passing seemed to be crisper. It seemed to be more on target. He was getting the ball quicker out of his hand, better release. He was connecting with his receivers on more of a rhythm type of deal. But when we slowed down, it seemed like that's when the offense really struggled. So I can't wait until we see that 100% NASCAR-like offense that Jamie was talking about when he got here. So that's why I'm reserving judgment.
You may be right. We may not have had the personnel to run that type of system, but you're definitely right about the fact that we did better when we were going up tempo. And I think it's a mental thing. When you're not thinking about it and you're just reacting or acting, and it's boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You don't let this between your ears get in the way. And sometimes the mental side of things could do it. So maybe as his program and his system, his process, you like that?
I love it.
Comes through the middle school, 9th grade team, JV team, as those kids are more indoctrinated into his system and his process, that those kids are going to learn that, and he'll be able to implement it. So I hope that's the case. I mean, I'm not bashing Jamie. I know he and Tracy sometimes watch our show, and I'm not bashing him, but I'm being a typical fan that loves to win, and I want to see the changes just like you.
Sure.
He promised me a state championship. He promised us a state championship because he's won one everywhere he's went, and I think that his process does work if certain things fall into place.
Yeah, I can buy that. I really can. Now I was looking for. I'm trying to find. This is the thing that you asked me to find a while ago, but I'm having a tough time finding it. That little basketball picture that we were talking about. But anyway, I will find it. Here's what I did find though, and that is, I went back and looked at the state championships that Lowndes won, and I went back, Billy, to look at the new head coaches that we've had over the years. When Joe Wilson took over for Wes Thomas back in 1976, it took Joe Wilson 5 years to win a state championship. Now, when you fast forward, Rick Tomlin obviously didn't win any state championships. When Milt Miller took over for Rick Tomlin, it took him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to win a state championship. When Randy McPherson, I almost called him Randy Miller. When Randy McPherson took over, it took him 3 years to win a state championship. And then he won 3 in 4 years. Then he went through a lull with the program. And then the last 3 or 4 years with the Randy McPherson era, we saw the program start to surge again. So when Jamie DuBose took over, he took over a very good program. And he said that he wanted to make it an excellent program, take it to the next level. So now we're approaching or entering Jamie DuBose's 3rd year as the Lowndes head skipper. And so that's why I asked the question that I did. Are we on schedule based on the schedule of our previous head coaches? So his predecessor took 3 years. So this is entering DuBose's 3rd year.
And I wouldn't gauge it off of, how long it takes him, because here's the deal. We all coaches have their own style.
Right.
Jakari was a great quarterback. I think Jakari would have been better under a Randy McPherson wing T.
Really?
I think he fit that system a little better. That's what he grew up in.
Yeah.
I mean, through middle school, we were still running the wing T when Jakari was in middle school.
Right.
So, I think as he gets his players, because everybody already had a starting job, and I know people could have took jobs, but everybody had a job. They had already been taught a position when Jamie got here.
Right.
And I'm gonna throw COVID year away. I'm gonna throw 2020 away. I'm giving him a little bit more time because he had a stellar team that he probably, as a coach, some of the personnel didn't fit in the cog of the program, the process that he was working, that he's used to working, that he's implementing.
Yeah.
But what I think, you couldn't take those players out of those positions because they were so good. So now that those players are starting to filter out of the program, I think he can start implementing his type of player in that position. And it's a guy that he trained up. So I'm going to throw COVID year away for the whole talks of how long it takes or whatever. But it's time. We're going to start from 2021, and we're going to say, okay, that's year 1. Next year's year 2 instead of 3. And he needs to start getting his players in. It's kind of like recruiting in college.
Right.
You give a coach 3 or 4 years to get his players in place. What happens? It happens.
That's a good point. That's a fair point.
So that's just my opinion. That I think he's got to get his personnel where he wants it, and train those kids in those positions. Yeah. So we got to give him a little bit of time. He did promise a state championship. So eventually we're going to put him on the clock for that. Just throwing that out there because hey, if you promise something, you gotta do something about it. So
I hear you, man. Listen, I agree with everything that you just said. So I retract what I said earlier by saying I have to kind of reserve judgment based on what you just said. I think we are on schedule. Now, that leads us into a topic for next week, which is, guys, I'm going to give you a whole week to be thinking about this. We talked about, you just said that he's got to get his system in place, his players, train them the right way. That's the process. Everybody's heard of the process. And I've heard DuBose say it. I've heard of Justin, not Justin Rogers, the new head coach at Thomas County Central, talks about his process. A lot of coaches nowadays talks about the process. So next week, I'm going to give you a whole week to think about it. I want you to define, in your opinion, what is the Jamie DuBose process that you see as a fan?
I'm going to need to interview Jamie because
you might have to. You got some homework to do, man.
I might have to.
Well, listen. To be fair, if you can't, we can make it more generic. What do coaches mean by process? We're going to break this down to exactly what it means. No hype, no coach speak, no nothing. What does it mean so the average fan can understand? Because you and I talked about this before the show tonight, how people still need to get involved with a touchdown club and that kind of stuff. I still don't think that people fully understand what monies go and pay for and things like that. So all that is part of the process, but we have yet to define as a program, what is the Jamie DuBose process? And I would love to find that out as a super fan myself, right? What does it mean?
Because I guarantee you what he's doing now, he did at Central Phoenix City.
Absolutely.
He grew up under a coach, and that coach had a system probably or process probably, and he took his parts out of it and mixed it with this. It's kind of like a hybrid kind of conglomeration of everything he's learned. And so he's definitely got a system that he has used year after year after year.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, while we're thinking about that this week, I'm going to give myself homework as well. I'm going to try to reach out to Jamie and see if he'll come on the show next week and maybe tell everybody in Viking Nation, what does he mean by process? What does it mean? Because we all hear it, but there might be a disconnect between what the regular everyday fan thinks it is and what a head coach thinks it is, right? So I'll try to reach out to him and see if maybe he won't, maybe he will, maybe he won't. We'll just have to see. So I'll do that. So the last thing that we're out of time. We're in overtime already, but I want to leave you with this. We talked about the success of Lowndes basketball this year, and we have found the key, the reason why especially the girls team, Billy, has been so successful this year. So guys, we talk about the process. We're talking about Kevin Wisham putting, the right kind of weight on athletes. Basically the process has transformed this student athlete, Billy. Yes. So this is, we're going to put a picture on the screen of a transformed student athlete for the Lowndes basketball team. And we'll just go ahead and put it on the screen. This is the secret. This is the reason. This athlete right here is the reason why the girls basketball team is doing so well. Now, some people might look at this and think that, man, that's just Tim Neesmith. No, it's not. It's Tim Neesmith's niece, right? And the resemblance is uncanny, though. So I don't know what her name is, but Tim, you got a niece out there that is like your spitting image, dude. I mean, the confidence that this player plays with wearing sunglasses during a basketball game, that is just fantastic. So anyway, Tim, whatever you're doing, man, keep contributing to the program because we absolutely love it. So one last time, guys, we're going to remind you who our sponsors were for the show this week. After that segment, they may not be sponsors next week. We just don't know. So we want to thank our sponsors, Pepsi, Shade of Perfection, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta, White Oak Investment, the Verizon Wireless store on Perimeter Road, and of course, G Nation Media. So thank you guys for all the support. We want to thank you. So with that said, we'll sign off for tonight, guys. You've been watching. Got a comment, one last comment. Y'all going to get me in hot water. Wilbur Pelfrey said, y'all are going to get me in hot water. Wilbur is he was the Johnny on the spot, taking that photo at the perfect moment when Tim Neesmith's niece hit the basketball court for the Lowndes Vikings. So thank you, Wilbur, for sending us that photo, buddy. We appreciate it. So anyway, guys, you've been watching Billy Pearson, Larry Godwin. That's our show for this week. That's the Around the Nation on the Viking Nation Live, and we'll see you guys next week. Until then, go Vikings.
Go Vikings.